What if everything you thought about happiness was, well, only half the story? What if the real secret to a truly satisfying life isn't just happiness at all? Today, we're embarking on a deep dive, looking into some really fascinating research from health, psychology, spiritual insights. Our mission, to try and uncover what genuinely makes us thrive, will be pulling out key insights from, well, everything from brain scans to daily life diaries, and revealing some truly surprising truths about meaning and joy. You might just find that understanding the profound distinction between common ideas of happiness and this deeper, more enduring experience we call joy, well, it could completely transform your perspective on living well.
It really is a journey, isn't it, into the deeper currents of, let's say, human flourishing, moving beyond just those fleeting smiles we often chase. The sources we've looked at, they really challenge our conventional wisdom, guiding us towards, a richer understanding of what it means to feel truly alive.
Okay, let's unpack this then. We often talk about happiness in our daily lives, right? That feeling of contentment, things going smoothly. Right. But our sources draw a really critical line between that common idea of happiness and something, well, far more profound, joy. What's the fundamental difference there?
Yeah, that's the starting point, really. Happiness, as we typically define it, is often tied to the fulfillment of something we already expected or desired, like past patterns, hopes, aims. Think of it as that feeling of settling into comfort, a sense of placidity, maybe achieving a goal you set. Physiologically, it seems to be mediated by the parasympathetic nervous system.
The rest and digest one.
Exactly. Your body's rest and digest mode, bringing relaxation. It's often about satisfying current desires, sort of relying on your outer state, what's happening around you.
Okay. So if happiness is that comfortable sigh of relief, that kind of settling in, what about joy? Does it feel completely different in the moment?
It absolutely does. Joy is described as something far deeper. It's the emotion that accompanies the fulfillment of our very nature as human beings. Yeah, it's about experiencing your inherent worth and dignity, an affirmation of your being, even when challenges pop up. And here's where the physiological distinction gets really fascinating. Joy seems to be mediated by the sympathetic nervous system.
Oh, the fight or flight one? That seems counterintuitive.
Well, yes, it's usually associated with fight or flight, but in this context, think of it more like an explore and thrive mode. It's activation, but for engagement.
So instead of making you want to, kick back and relax, joy actually energizes you. It pushes you forward.
Precisely. Joy doesn't lead to rest. It stimulates exploration. While happiness often relaxing us into contentment, joy challenges us with new levels of experience. It's like an overflowing of inner energy that can lead to awe, to wonderment. It feels like a release, an opening up, what happens when you genuinely let go into something new.
Right.
So happiness is about contentment, maybe satisfaction, but joy. Joy is about freedom and abundance of human spirit. It points towards new possibilities, towards the future. As our sources describe it, it's like living on the razor's edge, that thrilling sense of new continents waiting to be explored. It's not just about what you have, but what you are becoming.
That distinction really resonates. And this idea of energized exploration, it brings us straight to a concept that seems to beautifully capture where joy often resides: flow. Flow. We hear this term a lot, maybe thrown around casually, but what exactly is flow from the perspective of our sources?
Yeah, flow is described as an optimal experience. It's that state of complete absorption in an activity. These are often things we do just for the sheer enjoyment of it. Could be play, art, creative work, sports, even certain religious practices.
Okay.
It's that moment when you're so immersed that nothing else seems to matter and time just, well, it disappears, doesn't it?
Oh, I've definitely felt that. You're so engrossed in a hobby or a project, maybe writing or coding, and you look up and hours have just melted away.
Exactly.
What are the key ingredients then? What creates this flow state?
Well, one of the clearest signs is the merging of action and awareness. You're intensely aware of what you're doing. Think of a tennis player totally focused on the ball, or a chess master completely lost in strategy.
Right.
But you're not aware of your awareness. The moment your attention splits and you start observing yourself from the outside, thinking, wow, I'm doing great, or uh-oh, am I messing up? The flow is interrupted.
Like that basketball player example you mentioned. If you think about why you're hot, suddenly you're not.
Precisely. You can't be self-conscious. It pulls you right out of it.
That makes perfect sense. It's about being completely present, not observing yourself being present.
Another crucial element is a feeling of control. While you're in flow, you feel a sense of mastery over your actions and the environment. But it's not usually an active thought like, wow, I'm totally in control here.
It's more subtle.
Yeah, it's more an absence of worry about lacking control. It's only when you reflect later that you realize, yeah, my skills were perfectly matched for that. Interestingly, our sources mention rock climbers often feel more in control on a dangerous rock face than they do when driving a car.
Really? Why is that?
Because on the rock face, the dangers, while real, are finite and perceived as manageable with their specific skills. Driving involves variables they can't fully control. So in flow, the control is about the alignment of skill and immediate challenge.
That's a powerful point. It's not about an absence of risk, but your perceived ability to handle that specific risk.
Exactly. You also need clear goals and immediate feedback. The goals need to be sharply defined, the steps to reach them clear, and you get constant real-time feedback that helps you adjust your behavior on the fly.
So even negative feedback is okay.
Yes, even negative feedback is useful if you perceive your skills are adequate to respond to it. It just becomes information to adjust course. This continuous loop keeps you totally engaged.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's that distortion of time we talked about. Minutes can feel like hours, or more often, hours can pass in what feels like minutes. You sort of step outside of normal clock time.
And what's driving all this? What's the ultimate motivator behind achieving flow? Is it about the outcome?
No, not primarily. It's intrinsic motivation. The activity itself is the reward. There's no need for external incentives like praise or money, although those might come later. There's a great quote from a climber and poet in our sources, something like, "The mystique of rock climbing is climbing. You get to the top, glad it's over, but really wish it would go forever.
Why?
The justification of climbing is climbing, like the justification of poetry is writing. The purpose of the flow is to keep on flowing." Not looking for a peak or utopia, but staying in the flow. It just captures that essence of doing something purely for the love of doing it.
That quote really does capture it, doesn't it? Doing it for its own sake.
Yeah.
So when does this ideal state of flow typically happen? What are the conditions that invite it in?
Well, the key conditions are when the perceived challenges of an activity are high, and importantly, your skills are perceived as equally high.
The sweet spot.
Exactly. You've got to hit that sweet spot where you're perfectly matched with the task. It's engaging, but not overwhelming. Contrast this with other states, right?
Like what?
Well, if challenges are high, but your skills feel low, you get anxiety. If challenges are low, but your skills are high, you just get bored.
Makes sense.
Flow is that dynamic balance right in the middle, or rather at the top where both are high. And this connection between high challenge and high skill also drives what's called a growth principle.
How so?
Because as your skills improve through experiencing flow, that same activity might start to feel less challenging, maybe even boring. So to re-experience flow, you naturally seek out progressively more complex challenges.
So you're constantly stretching your ability.
Exactly. It creates this built-in mechanism for growth. It's a self-perpetuating cycle.
Yeah.
You master something, you seek a slightly harder thing, you enter flow again, you master that.
And what's fascinating is seeing how these principles of flow and challenge play out in our everyday lives. Take our typical work week, for instance. Our sources highlight how during weekdays, especially during standard working hours, people report wanting to do what they're doing less than 40% of the time.
Oof. Yeah.
But this jumps to over 50% after 4 p.m. and then throughout the weekends. Work is often framed as unfree, while leisure is seen as free, even though, ironically, work often utilizes more of our complex skills.
Exactly. It really makes you think about how we structure our time and, maybe more importantly, how we perceive the activities we engage in.
Definitely.
And studies on teenagers offer even more intriguing insights here. It turns out happier teenagers are more likely to feel their decisions are voluntary and that the tasks they engage in are challenging.
Challenging, not easy.
Right, challenging. And crucially, their skills are perceived as ample or only slightly below what's required, meaning they're in that flow or near flow zone. This data reveals something key. For teenagers, true happiness isn't just about easy fun.
It's about engagement.
Yes, it's about voluntary engagement with challenge. Those who embrace activities that stretch them, even something like studying, actually report higher well-being over time. It echoes that growth principle we just talked about.
That finding about studying is so counterintuitive, isn't it? It really goes against the common idea that, more free time or less effort automatically equals more happiness for kids.
It really does. It suggests that engaging with challenging activities, even if they aren't immediately pleasurable in a simple, hedonic way, contributes to a deeper sense of well-being and competence down the line.
Okay.
Furthermore, when we look at passive versus active leisure, the distinction is pretty clear in the data.
How so?
Activities like heavy TV watching or just passively reading the newspaper, things that require less energy and participation, tend to be accompanied by lower reported happiness.
Lower. Really?
Yeah. In fact, some studies show heavy TV viewing is often preceded by feeling worse effectively. It might be something people turn to when they're already feeling a bit down or bored.
Huh. So it's not necessarily making them happier.
It seems not, overall. Conversely, activities that involve more active participation, even if they are less energy-intensive physically, like maybe focused reading, hobbies, or engaging conversation, consistently correlate with higher reported happiness.
So more active engagement, even if it requires a bit more mental effort, seems to lead to greater well-being. And this has a direct link to productivity too, doesn't it? I remember seeing that.
Absolutely. Individuals who experience flow more frequently don't just feel better, they actually spend significantly more time working productively. The data suggests about 25 minutes more per day, on average.
Wow.
And less time goofing off, as they put it. Flu frequency is also inversely related to that feeling of wishing to be doing something else during most life activities.
So it really connects you, anchors you in the present task.
It connects you deeply to what you're doing, making it more meaningful and, well, productive.
Okay, so beyond this powerful concept of flow, our deep dive reveals other absolutely crucial pillars for enduring well-being. And right at the top of that list seem to be relationships and altruism. How central are these connections to our overall sense of thriving?
Oh, incredibly central. Relationships are consistently identified in study after study as perhaps the strongest support system we have for managing stress.
Our buffer.
Exactly, our buffer. And they're a key indicator of overall well-being. When the going gets tough, or even when there's something wonderful to celebrate, who do people naturally turn to?
Friends, family, partners.
Right. Friends, family, partners. These connections are our, you could say, life rafts in hard times and our cheering sections in good times.
So beyond just acknowledging their importance, which I think most of us do, what practical steps can we actually take to cultivate these vital connections more effectively?
Well, our sources emphasize several key practices. First, speaking authentically from the heart. This isn't just about honesty. It means slowing down, being present with yourself, and genuinely connecting with your own emotions as you communicate.
Not just reciting facts.
Right. Second, asking curious questions about others. This means truly wanting to learn more about who they are, their experiences, their perspectives, rather than just waiting for your turn to speak or trying to impress them. Genuine curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And third, actively cultivating and expressing gratitude. This isn't just beneficial for the person receiving the gratitude, though it certainly is. Expressing gratitude actually has a huge positive impact on you, the giver. It creates this wonderful, positive emotional loop.
That makes sense. And exploring new things like hobbies can play a role here too, right? Even if you start alone.
Yes, absolutely. Trying a new hobby, whether you do it alone or with a friend, opens you up to deeper presence, curiosity, and wonder elements we saw in flow. If you do it with a friend, it can obviously deepen your existing connection through shared experience. And doing it alone can paradoxically lead to new friendships with like-minded people who share that interest.
Finding your tribe.
Finding your tribe, exactly. And don't underestimate investing in work friendships either. Studies consistently show people with friends at work are more engaged, more innovative, and frankly just have more fun during the day. It's all about creating and nurturing those connections, personal and professional.
And this focus on connection naturally seems to tie into altruism, doesn't it? Helping others.
It does.
Happier people, our sources show, are more likely to engage in altruistic behaviors, things like volunteering, giving to charity, helping strangers in need.
They're also more likely to do things like donate blood or even bone marrow and organs. It really appears to be a virtuous cycle. Helping others often makes you feel happier, perhaps more connected and purposeful. And being happier, in turn, seems to make you more inclined to reach out and help others. It feeds itself.
And there's that interesting effect called moral elevation.
Yes, observing altruism in others. Seeing someone perform a really compassionate act can inspire this feeling of moral elevation in us, that profound sense of being uplifted, maybe a bit teary-eyed, and feeling motivated to be more altruistic ourselves.
So kindness is contagious.
It really seems to be, like a positive ripple effect spreading outwards.
That's fascinating, this ripple effect of compassion. And there's a neuroscience angle to this too, isn't there? Our brains aren't just passively observing, they're wired to respond to this connection and compassion.
Indeed. Brain regions like the ventral and dorsomedial prefrontal cortex, these are areas involved in things like emotion regulation and planning goal-directed behavior. They show increased activity after people undergo compassion training.
And that leads to?
Well, it leads to measurable improvements in recognizing emotions in others and also to more actual helping behavior in their daily lives. It changes how they interact. And another area, the anterior insula, also activates quite strongly when we witness the pain or even just the emotions of others. It seems crucial for our empathetic responses, for feeling with others. Our brains are fundamentally built for connection.
So our brains are actually wired to respond positively, even structurally, to connection and compassion. Let's talk a bit more about the neuroscience of happiness itself then, and what defines that sustained well-being on a neural level. What parts of the brain light up for those quick hits of pleasure versus something more lasting?
Right. So for those short-lived, immediate hits of pleasure, the kind we often conventionally think of as happiness brain regions like the nucleus accumbens definitely get involved.
The reward center.
Yeah, often called the brain's reward center. It's part of the ventral striatum and also the ventromedial prefrontal cortex. These areas show activation, and there's also increased connectivity between them and the amygdala during positive experiences. It's that satisfying feeling of a desire being met, like, that felt good.
Okay, so that's the brain's reward pathway lighting up for those quick hits. But for that deeper, more enduring sense of well-being we've been discussing, that joy, perhaps, is it the same areas, or does something else change?
That's where it gets really interesting and crucial for understanding lasting well-being. Research shows that higher levels of sustained activation in these same regions, the ventral striatum and also the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex in response to positive stimuli, are what predict higher psychological well-being over time.
So it's not just the initial spark.
Exactly. It's not just about the initial spark of pleasure, but how effectively your brain sustains that positive response. It seems to be the difference between a fleeting high and a more stable, lasting sense of contentment and positivity.
And here's where it gets really critical for, well, everything.
Yeah.
Our sources tell us that greater sustained activation in these specific brain regions is also linked to lower cortisol output. What does that actually mean for our physical health?
That's a profound connection, really. Lower cortisol indicates a reduced physiological stress response.
Right, the stress hormone.
Exactly. So basically, when your brain is better at sustaining these positive neural patterns, it's not just making you feel good mentally, it's actually reducing your body's physical stress response, which shows up as lower cortisol levels.
Wow.
This strongly suggests that these neural patterns predict not just your self-reported well-being, but also your objective physical health and resilience to stress. It's a direct link between cultivating deeper well-being and nurturing a healthier body.
So it's not just a feeling, it's a measurable physiological state that contributes to our overall health and our ability to bounce back.
Okay, so connecting all these threads together now, the idea of flow, the importance of relationships, the power of altruism, even this deeper sustained neural activation. What's the overarching goal or concept that seems to encompass all of it? Our sources point towards meaning in life.
Yes, meaning in life. It's defined generally as the feeling that one's existence has significance, purpose, and coherence. It's seen as a fundamental human need that goes beyond just momentary feelings or specific accomplishments.
It gives context. It provides a framework, a why behind what we do. It helps us make sense of our experiences and directs our efforts.
And the impact of finding or creating that meaning is profound, right? It goes beyond just feeling good day to day.
Absolutely. Individuals who perceive their lives as meaningful consistently tend to live longer, healthier, and yes, happier lives overall.
Longer, healthier too.
Yes. And on a broader societal scale, a sense of meaning seems to function as a crucial self-regulatory and motivational resource. It orients people towards thinking and behaving in ways that build and sustain healthy communities and societies. It's like the glue that holds purpose and constructive action together.
So putting it all together, the optimal way to invest our energy, according to our sources, seems to be by organizing our activities around a combination of immediate enjoyment, that flow state we talked about, and inspiring long-term goals, which contribute to that sense of meaning.
That's the synthesis.
This is where your future aspirations become deeply joined to the immediate rewards of doing something enjoyable and engaging right now. It's not about, say, suffering now for some distant future reward, but finding joy and flow in the very act of building towards that meaningful future.
It's about finding that sweet spot, again, where what you do today feels both good and purposeful in the moment, and also clearly propels you towards a significant valued future. It's really a holistic approach to well-being, integrating the present and the future.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you, our listener? This deep dive has really shown us, I think, that true well-being goes far beyond just fleeting happiness. It delves into that deeper experience we're calling joy, which is often found not in passive comfort, but through active engagement and challenge what we've termed flow. Meaning in life provides that essential purpose and coherence, giving direction to our journey. Of course, strong relationships and acts of altruism offer absolutely vital support systems and create this powerful positive feedback loop for everyone involved.
And our brains, it turns out, are essentially wired to thrive when we actively seek out and manage to sustain these kinds of experiences.
The evidence really does strongly point towards a preference, at least in terms of generating and enduring well-being, for active engagement and purposeful action over just passive consumption.
It certainly seems that way.
Which raises a really important, maybe slightly uncomfortable paradox for us all to consider. Why do we often choose passive pleasure, like maybe hours of heavy TV viewing, which studies often associate with feeling worse effectively, or mild dysphoria? Why do we choose that over active, challenging enjoyment? Things like reading a complex book, pursuing a difficult hobby, learning a new skill, activities that can produce profound flow and demonstrably lead to deeper, more enduring well-being. It's a question really worth mulling over in your own life.
It really encourages us, doesn't it, to look closely at our daily choices and how we're actually investing our precious time and psychic energy.
So, as you reflect on this deep dive, maybe ask yourself, what choices will you make starting today to perhaps cultivate more flow and meaning in your own life? How might you reallocate even small amounts of your attention and energy each day, consciously moving beyond maybe just chasing fleeting happiness towards cultivating genuine, sustainable joy?
We certainly hope this deep dive helps illuminate your path towards a more fulfilling and vibrant life.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep thriving.